The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Squirrel's Relationship Management in the Age of AI webinar. My name is Connor Letty, and I will be your host. Presenting today's webinar will be Miguel Rodriguez, who is the Chief Sales Officer at Squirrel. He will be presenting alongside with two gentlemen from Salesforce, Ashraf Tangi, who is a lead solution engineer at Salesforce, and Federico Venturiri, who is the EMEA Financial Services Business Development Lead, and he's an industry expert for investment banking, wealth and asset management, and capital markets. We're very lucky to have these gentlemen. We ask the audience to please submit your questions throughout the webinar to the questions panel. We'll definitely get to your questions after the presentation. Without further ado, I will pass it over to Federico.
Thank you, Connor. Hi, everyone. Federico here. So I'm going to go through the first part of the presentation, which is around Salesforce. How does Salesforce help asset managers in regards to their relationship managers, sales and distribution teams? And then I'll move over to Miguel, who will talk about the Squirrel part and our joint proposition. And we'll finish with Ashraf, who will be presenting a demonstration of what this looks like in practice. So let's dig right in. Salesforce, some of you might have heard about us. We're a global software company, SaaS company. We started in CRM, but we've evolved to do a lot of different things. So I think the point I'd like to make here on this first slide is that we have a presence across the whole of financial services, not just asset management, but even though we'll talk about asset management today, we go from retail banking to insurance, from very small fintechs to the very largest financial institutions in the world. We have references all over. So as I said, today we'll focus on asset management. So our presence in asset management is quite extensive. We have quite a successful track record in asset management with a number of the firms that you can see on there. It's actually one of our best penetrated markets, so we're very happy with our success there. So much that we actually have 15 out of the top 20 asset managers by AUM that are all Salesforce customers. So tremendous success there, and we're looking to grow in this field. Now, first, I'll start with kind of a 30,000 feet view of the challenges that the industry is facing. Asset management is facing a number of challenges, and there are three main pillars that we see there. The first one is macro. Obviously, I don't need to tell anyone about COVID, but the COVID repercussions that we see, such as high volatility, prolonged interest rates, and just in general, what we see is a switch from active to passive asset management, also from higher risk into lower risk assets. We've seen that happen, and that causes significant challenges to asset managers. Second one is regulation and compliance, which has been going on for some time. But the investor protection focus type regulations, such as MiFID II and so on, create a fairly high burden for everyone, including the asset managers. And we don't see that wave of regulation turning at any point in the future, even though we're seeing some signs that some regulations might be postponed or relaxed somewhat. Still, this is an ongoing challenge for asset managers. And finally, I think as a result of those two things, you have tremendous pressure on fees that's been going on for some time, with tremendous competition from ETF providers, for example. Fees have been going down for a number of years now, whereas the costs still keep increasing, especially due to the things like regulation and compliance and overall overheads that you need just to operate as an asset manager. So if you go one level deeper, we see three broad trends that are speeding up transformation in the industry. The first one is new distribution models. So something that is really starting to take place in the US, for example, direct to consumer asset management, more hands-on approach from people in their investments through things like robo-advisors and so on. Also asset managers that are a lot closer to a B2C model than a B2B model. We don't see that as becoming the norm, but certainly has pushed asset managers to rethink how they interact with their clients, and that in turn has led to the second trend there, which is the evolving client expectations, both in the institution and on the retail side. So on retail, it sounds straightforward that people have higher expectations than ever before, because in your personal life you are using the Ubers and Amazons, and you are used to that kind of experience, and you do expect that in your professional life as well. We've done some research showing that actually expectations are even higher in a B2B context. So if you're an asset manager, your clients will expect a higher level of experience and of service from you as they would even in their personal life. So it is a tall order, and it's definitely a challenge for asset managers. And finally, and I think really the main focus of this call is AI, advances in artificial intelligence, data science. What does that mean for asset managers? And especially data, how can you make the most of your data? We see data as being one of the key differentiators for asset managers in the future, especially in an age where service becomes ever more important. How can you leverage that data to provide superior service to your clients? And of course, last but not least, COVID has upended everything we knew and believed in, and it's definitely changing and transforming the industry. I think COVID really serves also as a kind of a way to accelerate other trends. I was reading just the other day that a report among Fortune 500 CEOs saying that one of the main things that they've learned from the COVID crisis is that they cannot postpone their needed transformation any longer. It's certainly the case in the asset management industry, where COVID is actually brought about change a lot faster than expected. So new distribution models, I think going from physical to digital, we're seeing that being accelerated. The client expectations are also accelerated in terms of, people want now an experience that is better right now. And on the data side, ever more data is being created, but it has become really, really important to use this data well. But there are challenges along the way. So asset management firms and clients and prospects, the two big bubbles you see on either side, they of course try to communicate with each other, especially from the asset management side onto the clients and prospect side. But there are challenges in these communications. Things like proliferation of digital messaging through email, websites, social media. It's very hard for you as an asset manager to get your message heard by your clients. There's also an ever-increasing volume of market perspectives, from a variety of sources, from traditional media, also from other asset management firms, industry thought leaders. So it's hard to articulate your firm's value in the investment landscape today. And those are just symptoms of a bigger picture, which is increased competition. Shelf space opportunities are dwindling, right? Product differentiating in the fund management space can be a bit of a challenge. And the fee discussion is also, of course, a big pain point. So, communicating is harder than ever before, and it is a very, very competitive space today. So it's become more and more difficult to reach your clients and prospects with really what they need. And these challenges are, they're really disrupting progress. So when you analyze them, you'll find that they actually really negatively affect the business of the asset manager in very meaningful ways. The first one is just from an observation, the relationship managers spend an awful lot of time to pull information on a client. That's often a product of, having siloed data systems, also having a far from adequate use of fairly premium data sources, external data sources as well. We'll touch on that. And just in general, it can take hours to create, say, for example, a pitch deck before going to a client meeting from a relationship manager's perspective. So you see things like reduced employee productivity and potential loss of market share, even if DRM is unable to get their hands on all the materials that they need. Of course, this makes it challenging to maintain and grow these relationships. It's harder to schedule meetings. It's harder to basically speak about the right topics if you don't have your hands on all the information that you need. It's hard for you as an RM to choose the right channel as well. So this could lead to an inconsistent and sometimes disappointing client experience. And I think in addition to all of that, most organizations, most asset management firms face a lot of inefficiency around their legacy systems. So, many of them have built legacy over decades. And today, they need to just maintain this IT legacy mostly, and this causes reduced employee and also client satisfaction. So all of that to show that there are significant challenges in terms of delivering true value and outstanding customer and client experience on the asset management space. What we see as key to success is leveraging the sales and distribution teams in a better way, helping them focus on the right actions. So what does that mean? On what you can see here is that a lot of the asset managers, relationship managers, so sales and distribution teams spend a lot of time on tasks that are of no economic value. Things like stitching data together, as I said, manual tasks, a lot of them due to either operational kind of constraints within the company or just to satisfy regulatory requirements. Leaking information is commonplace, and also wasting time while traveling. A surprisingly high number of asset managers that I spoke with have absolutely no mobile working capabilities for their RMs, which is certainly something to address. On the right-hand side, high economic value is the kind of stuff that ideally you'd like your relationship managers to be doing. You'd like them to work anywhere from their mobile. You'd like them to prioritize their actions based on insights, based on the data. You'd like them to collaborate efficiently with one another on a single opportunity, and especially you'd like them to know what will then result in inflows. All of these are very high economic values, and we see enabling those types of behaviors and actions as key to really turn around and to really transform the asset manager. Now, what's the why is it important now? And I can't emphasize this enough. There is a significant difference actually between those asset managers that do take action now from a technology standpoint and those who don't. So you can see here research from Casey Quirk, who is now part of Deloitte from last year. The top graph shows that effectively, if you're in the top third of spenders on technology, you have seen over the past 5 years, well, actually from the 2014 to 2017, an average 2.5% increase in AUM. If you're in the bottom third, you've seen on average a decrease by 7%. Those are significant numbers. But what's even more interesting, I think, is the second graph that shows that if you're effectively a data-driven asset manager when it comes to sales and distribution, you have a 3-year on average longer institutional client tenure. This means that you have longer relationships with your customers, with your clients as an asset manager, if you put data at the center. So it is absolutely important to do that right now. Now, what is our vision? Our vision at Salesforce and also with Squirrel, as you will see, is the asset manager of the future that is able, well, the asset manager distribution team, or let's say an RM here, who is able to leverage all existing and internal and external data, who is able to use artificial intelligence to enhance his own performance and also to enhance efficiency across the firm, who is able to streamline and optimize processes, so really waste less time on operational processes. And really all of this, we think will make a successful RM in the asset management space. These capabilities are all existing today. It's a matter of implementing them. It's a matter of bringing about change in the organization and getting them widely adopted. But we think this is a vision, and it's an achievable vision. Now, how can we help at Salesforce? And I'll go into how can Squirrel help as well in a second. But we've launched a product in 2016 called Financial Services Cloud, which is the main way in which we go to market in this space, in asset management and also broadly in financial services. So we took what was already the world's smartest CRM and we reimagined it for asset management. This is a solution that incorporates several features that are specific to financial services industry and also some that are specific to asset management. So this is built upon the Salesforce Customer Success Platform and also has a bunch of features that you can see there, things like client profiles, funds and mandates, objects that are already pre-built, intelligent referral management, and so on. These are all capabilities that were built with the asset manager in mind. And our product is now, after 13 releases, we keep adding onto this product. We've got a number of capabilities and we keep growing it. So this is really, we see this as the backbone for a successful digital transformation in asset management when it comes to sales and distribution teams. And just before I move over to Miguel, I think one thing about Salesforce as well is the ecosystem that we have. So we see ourselves as a way for asset managers to bridge the gap with fintech. So with Salesforce at the center, with our app exchange, what we call our app exchange, we have thousands of apps, a bit like the Apple Store. You get access to a lot of these logos that you can see on there, and we see ourselves as a bridge between asset managers and fintech. So we allow asset managers to then really connect seamlessly with fintech and with a lot of innovation, including, amongst others, Squirrel. Squirrel is a great partner of ours and really enhances our capabilities in the field of asset management. So without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Miguel, who's going to tell you more about Squirrel.
Thank you very much, Federico. I will now introduce Squirrel to all of you, and thanks again for highlighting the importance of data in the space of asset management and also of artificial intelligence. So I would like to start again on the same topic. So we are really in a world of data overflow, where relevant information and insights have really become the most valuable assets for successful companies. And we saw that already before during Federico's presentation. And as we see, data-driven companies are really outperforming its competitors in the most relevant KPIs. What are those KPIs? If we take a look overall, we see that data-driven companies are 23 times more likely to acquire customers. They are 19 times more likely to be profitable. They are 3 times more likely to generate above average turnover growth, and 2.6 times more likely to have a significantly higher return on investment than the competitors. All these figures, they come from a report from McKinsey, and I think they further highlight the importance of data in today's world and how successful companies really leverage it and what kind of competitive advantage they can gain. Unfortunately, the reality looks a bit like this. I mean, there is more and more data being created every day, either on external channels, on internal channels, but also data is purchased. We talk here about premium data from companies such as Refinitiv, Morningstar, and others. And many of you asset managers purchase this company. It's quite expensive with intention to achieve a strong return on investment. The reality is that from all this data, just about 1% is actually used. Now, we just heard before, data is the most important asset. It achieves fantastic improvements on the most relevant KPIs, but just 1% is used. I mean, something is wrong here, right? What is not working? The issue that we see at companies is that about 95% of this data is first unstructured, so it's textual data. And the second point is data that is siloed. We already heard that before, where we need to invest a lot of time to stitch it together, to get a full picture, a holistic view of the client. And this is really an inefficient way of working with all the information. Further, most of the approaches that were taken so far to solve this problem were with a focus on technology. So things like data warehousing or big data solutions, or even artificial intelligence solutions, are solutions that are made for specialists, for people that have affinity to technology and can really work with it. And this really has caused user dissatisfaction because they cannot use it. And the only chance they have is really to always go to those experts and request insights from them. And this is definitely not scalable and creates at a lot of companies a bottleneck. For us at Squirrel, we have really the user in focus. For us, it's important that everybody is enabled to take advantage of the data, that everybody is enabled to understand the data and act upon the data. And that's why we have a different approach to artificial intelligence. We call this augmented intelligence, where we think about the user and how to enhance the elements that make a human. As an example, we enhance memory through our 360-degree client cockpit view. In a 360-degree view, we bring together data from all those data silos, we analyze it in context of the user, and we extract the most relevant insights so that you still remember what you discussed with this user, with your client in the last couple of meetings. Same also about perception. Analyzing data, extracting insights from all these silos is very valuable if you want to understand your customer. And for sure, also anticipation is key in today's market where we have a very competitive landscape. So we enhance this skill of the human with lead generation. So we identify talking points, we identify possibilities to engage with the client automatically, and we recommend it to the user in an easy and understandable way to make it very tangible and actionable. Same goes also for problem solving and decision making with our solution framework and the next best action. One of the keys of augmented intelligence and our offerings is context. Context is really, really important because all the data that you purchase is just data. It's not in your context. It might not be even for the customers or prospects that you're looking for, but it's just a database of information. When we start to put context into action, then we start to get the best out of the data. And we start to have then a natural conversation and access to information in the same way as we have it in our day-to-day lives. If we think about the smart devices that we have at home or our mobile phones, we always get information in context. So I get, as an example, advised when I have to leave my house to be on time for my next appointment. If I ask a question, I will get an answer. And all of it will happen in a very natural, easy way. I will not be thinking about technology. I will not be thinking about artificial intelligence. And this is exactly the approach that we take to augmented intelligence as well. It should be a simple conversation. Insights, recommendations should be displayed in context and be really actionable at the moment that they are presented. So summarizing this, what do we offer at Squirrel? We offer business-oriented applications like the asset management application that we will see later in the demo. We offer contextualization of information and we eliminate digital noise. And very important, we enhance core systems like Salesforce and the financial services cloud with augmented intelligence to really enable business users. And this is really important. It's the business user that needs to be enabled to really become data-driven, to access data, to understand data, and act upon the data. And for this, we have built 6 product suites that help us to turn meaningless data into actionable insights. Today, we will be seeing one of the applications from the Customer Insights product suite, where we have also other products that are built to optimize lead generation, to optimize the understanding of the customer, to reduce churn. But we have also a couple others in the areas of risk, service, marketing, and more generic also to solve one of the most important problems that a lot of companies have, access to information through cognitive search or through conversational search. And it's not only Squirrel that says that augmented intelligence is really the way forward, but it's also Gartner, one of the leading analysts of this world, that recently stated that as AI, so artificial intelligence, technology evolves, augmented intelligence will deliver the greatest benefits. And they even go as far as saying that CIOs should prioritize augmented intelligence to scale people's work and talents as the top of their contributions to grow business and volume, quality, and innovation. I think this is really important to see that it's really a trend in the market towards enablement of users, and that not only we have recognized this and all our customers, but also the leading analysts see this trend. If we take a look at what we can do when combining Squirrel with Salesforce, and more specifically the financial services cloud, we see that a lot of companies have already done investments. We talked before about premium data, but we also have, in many cases, investments that were done in data warehouses. The problem with this is that data warehouse mostly has only internal data, and structured data usually has either limited or no search capabilities at all. And same goes also for analytics and visualization. And most important, I have not seen a business user that's able to work with a data warehouse. With premium data, we have a bit the same issue. So it's a system of record. The data is stored there. It is what we get from the premium data vendor. It misses business context. And therefore, if you think at all the spending you do and the return that you get, if it's not leveraged, you could have a low return on investment. So the first part that we can solve with Squirrel is that we can gather this data. We have over 150 connectors to internal data, external data, and very important, also premium data vendors that help us to bring this data into the financial services cloud. Once this data is in the financial services cloud, we enhance the very strong capabilities of Salesforce with our cognitive and conversational search capabilities that allow users to search holistically across all the data that is within Salesforce or outside of Salesforce, and that we now brought into it through our data gathering capabilities. We have very strong capabilities to analyze data with special focus also on unstructured data that we saw before is 95% of the data the companies have. And very important, we provide the information through dashboards directly within Salesforce, fully embedded. We provide recommendations. We create the 360-degree view on an account level so that the user can just stay all day within the CRM system and take advantage of all the data in one place, and more important, can consume insights and recommendations directly within the financial services cloud. To at the end really achieve that asset managers become data-driven, that they have tangible business benefits and can increase their assets under management through these recommendations, and very important that they can achieve a bigger return on investment on the very expensive premium data. The application that we will see today is, as said, one of our customer insights product suite, and it's augmented intelligence for asset managers. And we will be seeing during the demo special emphasis on recommendations, on the 360-degree client cockpit, and also on how we can put data in context of a user. And with this, I'd like to hand over to Ashraf.
Thank you very much, Miguel. So let me present you the demo that we have prepared for you today. So this is based on Salesforce Financial Services Cloud and Squirrel. And really, we will see now how asset management firms can leverage external data and internal CRM or transactional data through AI. We will be doing that through the lens of a relationship manager. And I'd like to introduce here Luca, who is working at Cumulus Asset Management, a fictitious firm. And Luca leads a team of relationship managers, and he has a portfolio of pension fund clients. Luca is a digital savvy RM, but he really values the trust of his clients, and he sees himself as an advisor. So he would like to really that the client consider him as an ally that always proposes the best investment advice. So as most of the audience know, we are now going through very, very special times with COVID-19, and Luca is also feeling the impact of that. So a lot of the top customers are increasing outflows towards passive instruments, and really in this times he would like to again be there and on the upcoming meetings that he's having with his clients have an empathetic approach and bring again all advice that he could to help his clients move through this phase and increase even further the trust. So let's see how the Salesforce and Squirrel combination will help him bring new insights to his meetings and also prepare the best proposals. For that, I would like to introduce the Salesforce based RM cockpit. And this is really where Luca starts his day. At the center of the screen, Luca can see the client portfolio, and that's what helps him have an eye on all the funds by channel, as well as the spread of asset under management in the geography that he's managing. On top of that, as he is also leading a team, he always likes to keep an eye on the activities of himself and his team, in order really to maximize the customer-facing activities. Here as well on the left, you can see there is an integration with the with client onboarding processes, which are as well very critical to help him sort out what to which client he can already start to pitch and approach with what products. So this is all, let's say, a dashboard that helps him understand the current situation based on CRM data and the transactional data. But what about the market? So here below you see the first element of the Squirrel and Salesforce integration, and that's represented by this monitoring screen, which is basically bringing up all the data based on the understanding of which are the clients and what is the CRM context that matters to look up. On the left, you see that Squirrel understands which are the main clients that he is managing, such as Sirius Airways Pension Fund. And on these clients, the Squirrel system brings up all types of insights based also on catalysts. And catalysts are really pre-trained models that go through the data to the premium data, such as Morningstar and so on, and surfaces all type of events and actions based on specific rules and also machine learning algorithms that will detect what might be interesting for Luca and for this client. So as I'm going through this, I will see that there are some news coming from different sources, but something attracts my eye, which is the annual report of the let's say series of companies, and I see that this might be interesting for one of the upcoming meetings, as this is a similar industry, and I might be looking at some real competitive advantage if I can present and propose something very specific to Sirius Airways that help them really rebalance their risk. So I can select the news, and I can basically give it a thumbs up, which is something like a feedback I can give to the system that I want to save this data, this news, and I want to work on it later. Now, on the right side, you see as well that there are the upcoming meetings I'm having. This is all synchronized through the productivity suite, like Outlook, for example, for the events and the tasks, and also any external system that might send me new leads, such as people browsing on the website, and that can all be channeled through this landing page. Now let's look at it together, and how does Luca prepare for his meeting with the Sirius Airways Pension Fund. And this happens to be this afternoon, so I would like to meet my customer with some news. So the customer from Sirius Airways is represented by Andrea, which is my counterpart. And Andrea and I will have a meeting. For that, I will use the customer 360 view, which is basically built on the Salesforce Financial Services Cloud, and it's going to allow me to understand who is Sirius Airways and prepare best for that meeting. And as the meeting is ongoing, you will see that I will bring some context, some very valuable information, and also some advice that will make my customer delighted. And also in this very specific situation, I will help her and show my empathy, and also really keep that confidence going and trust. So let's see how I prepare my meeting. And for that, I can just navigate to my customer 360 view right by clicking on the Sirius Airways Pension Fund link. All right, so now the customer 360 view is loaded, and you see that I have a kind of a very visual way of understanding my customer. First of all, this view that you see here is built on Financial Services Cloud, which is nothing less than the accumulation of best practices that we have learned from other asset managers and financial institutions, and we have put it all through one verticalized product that's going to help our clients accelerate their transformation. So on the top here, I see the business milestones. Business milestones represent very important events that I would like to have and track in my CRM. Things like an IPO listing, an executive change, or an expansion. And I can see that in a timeline fashion, or also in a kind of a custom layout that I might decide myself. And then, of course, now I have a few minutes to understand what's the right things to bring up with Andrea, which is my counterpart. And I know by looking at this dashboard, which is kind of telling me what has happened in terms of asset outflows, and I can see that there is an increase of outflows in the last month. And by selecting, for example, in this interactive dashboard, I can also drill down and understand that there are some types of instruments that the customer is getting, let's say, unwilling to stay on, and that's a little bit what is the situation today in the market. So how can I revert that? How can I keep as well the right conversations going while helping Serious Airways grow through these difficult times? And to increase on my understanding of Serious Airways situation, I see here that the Cockpit 360 is also augmented with all the data that is either structured or unstructured as selected for me by this Squirrel view. You will see here that I have a kind of a combination of premium data and also CRM data that is concatenated into this view. So I am able, for instance, to go through all my call notes, and as I will find, there is a trend that we haven't talked about with Andrea, which is that she is really interested in diversifying a little bit more into ESG type of funds, environmental and social. And now that there is a lot of movement ongoing, I might also take that chance to bring up this topic, and I know exactly what type of fund I would like to bring up. So this Cockpit is also searchable, so I would be able to select and search for keywords, and as well using natural language. But I can also see here that Squirrel also indexed my documents, so all the documents that might be either accessible to within the bank or outside. Now I am preparing for that meeting, and I would like to have one or two recommendations from the engine. And for that, I can go to the recommendation tab, and I see that all the things that I have saved from the beginning of this interaction are under this recommendation tab here. Basically, Squirrel have selected for me all the news that I have thought would be very interesting, and then they are channeled in context when looking at the account Serious Airways. So here there happens to be one specific news item or event that I would like really to take with me and to be able to use in my pitch, which is that some of the funds from Cumulus Asset Management are doing really well, and they are based on renewable energy. So this is the type of opportunity that I might be able to launch and even create new revenue or maintain at least my profitability while bringing up something that's really valuable as well for my customer. So here, by clicking on opportunity, you will see that within the Salesforce customer context, I'm able to create a new opportunity, and it's already pre-populated with all the information that is in the context. So I can also see that there is a account name that is already existing, as well as the expressed interest as well, and so on. So these are, let's say, the form that that can be customized and configured
by Cumulus Asset Management. Now, I have already prepared an example of an opportunity here for you to see. This is a, let's say, pre-populated opportunity, and here it shows that I can already prepare my pitch based on the SEG type of fund, and I would like to probably also see what is the score of the opportunity. On the right here, you see my score that is assigned by the Einstein module. And Einstein here is basically the AI engine made by Salesforce. It tells me that there are some good, very good indicators that this opportunity might be successful. Another element of the opportunity process is the discovery. So under the discovery tab on the opportunity, I can see also that the same Einstein module has also predicted the close date to more or less a couple of months from now, and it is based on the machine learning that looks at what the history of all my deals with similar clients, and then will predict at which point this deal is expected to close. So I can also use that to plan my pipeline as well as my my future activities. All right, and one last thing that I would like to also add in terms of the asset management is that Salesforce is also helping very specifically the asset management RFP type of opportunity by an integration with our live documents. And live documents allow the advisor to plan and execute actions within Salesforce that help him basically really drive the deal through the stages and plan all kind of tasks that would be delivered by different people in his team. So to summarize, what we have seen is that we have shown how the data as an asset aspect is really in focus when we talk about Salesforce and Squirrel integration. That's because we see that throughout the life cycle of a relationship management actions, really the focus is on delivering value to the customer, and that is made possible by elevating and enhancing the engagements using the data. Another aspect that we have seen also in the demo is it is really a lot about the customer, being customer-centric, and for that you need to have one engagement platform that will summarize and give you all the context you need to deliver that client-centric approach. Squirrel and Salesforce also help you reduce time and really finding the news will find you and will find the relationship manager instead of him going out and looking for it. And last but not least, really one of the main things that we see as an advantage is when the right actionable insights come to the RM's attention in the right context, then great things can be made possible. Now back to you, Connor, for the Q&A.
Ashraf, thank you so much for the great demo presentation. That was very insightful and well done. A few questions from the audience. First question goes to Miguel. I've already invested in premium data sources like Morningstar. Would I be able to leverage this with in integration?
Yeah, that's a great question. We get this question asked quite a lot of times. Most of the asset managers we discussed before, they already took investments in the premium data, and it's no problem at all to leverage the data through Squirrel. We have either worked with most of the premium data vendors already successfully on projects, or we are even partners of some of them, like Morningstar.
Thanks, Miguel. Next question goes to Fred. What advantage does the financial services cloud offer to asset management firms? Is it the FSC model integrated with Squirrel?
Thanks, Connor. Yeah, good question. So financial services cloud, as I mentioned earlier, is a broad, I guess, financial services specific product offering. but it does have some specific capabilities that are relevant for asset managers. I mentioned a couple there, like client profiles, also pre-built fund and mandate objects, intelligent referrals. But I think, besides these kind of specific asset management capabilities, the fact that it is built on top of the Salesforce platform is what makes it powerful. And kind of it already has this financial services flavor, which means that in terms of time to market, in terms of basically getting things done quickly, it is significant improvement compared to just going from our basic offering. Now you mentioned Squirrel. I mean, Squirrel and Financial Services Cloud integrate very, very well, and it's actually probably the quickest route to market if you're looking to have an intelligent and data-driven sales and distribution teams. So they do fit in very well together and they complement each other.
Perfect. Well put. And that goes for the questions for today. We'll answer the remaining questions through email. We thank the audience for their feedback. We also ask the audience to please submit a question survey that should take no longer than a minute to complete. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll definitely be in touch. Take care.